Hello friends, welcome to the analysis of the Hindu newspaper for 16th of July 2020. So let us discuss the important news. Jio offers 5G technology and to develop cheap smartphone with Google. So the Jio platforms owned by Reliance Industries Limited, which is owned by Mr. Mukesh Ambani, has announced his plans to develop 5G technology in India, and Mr. Ambani said that he will be able to roll out the policy whenever the government starts the auctioning of the 5G spectrum. So both the Jio and Google have become partners to manufacture the entry level 4G and 5G smartphones, which will be aimed at pulling the people who are using feature phones and 2G phones towards the 4G and 5G technology. So both Jio and Google see a lot of potential in Indian market because of its large population size and because of the fact that merely 1/3 of the total active consumers in India use internet based smartphones. So there is a lot of potential to tap, and for that particular purpose Google has purchased 7.7% stake in Jio platforms for more than 33,000 crore rupees. And not only this, various other companies have also invested close to 2,20,000 crore rupees in Jio platforms in the last 3 months. So that shows the promising trend that internet based economy is going to see in the coming months and coming years. And this particular stake that has been purchased by Google in Jio platforms is a part of the $10 billion fund which Google had announced recently. And Google CEO Mr. Pichai has also said that their joint collaboration will focus on increasing the access for hundreds of millions of Indians who don't currently own a smartphone, while improving the mobile experience for all. So their focus is to improve access for hundreds of millions of Indians who are not currently using smartphones. So this is a big move not only for India but also because of the fact that 5G technology is at our doorstep, and it is also in news because of a Chinese company called Huawei. So Huawei is considered to be the world leader in 5G technology, but since it is a Chinese firm, various countries including the United States of America have closed its doors on Huawei, saying that there are various data privacy concerns that this company does not address. So data privacy is when the data that is generated and transmitted while using the internet is on the servers that are located abroad or are located in China. So there is always a chance for China spying or China using that data to control the another country. So because of all those concerns, various countries have denied access to Huawei to set up 5G technology. And in this regard, and also in the backdrop of India-China standoff on the border, the fact that an indigenous company of India like Reliance Industries Limited has developed a 5G technology platform can be a really good news for India. And also when Mr. Ambani was addressing the annual general meeting in which he made all these announcements, at the back of his where his presentation was running, Atmanirbhar Bharat was written in bold letters. So that shows that he is projecting this as a part of indigenizing the 5G technology. So that can be a big booster for India, whereas a home-based company or an indigenous company is developing such an advanced technology, and it will also be in a position to compete against various global companies such as Huawei. In the main editorial today, the concerns on inflation have been addressed, and the editorial expresses deep concerns over the rising inflation despite the depressed demand. So the editorial cites the fact that a few days back the consumer price index data of June month was launched, and it has shown inflation to be around 6.1%. So this 6.1% is already a bit above the threshold that has been set for the Monetary Policy Committee of the RBI, for which the policy mandate is 4% plus minus 2. That means the overall inflation has to be between 2% and 6%. But we can see here that this particular inflation level is breaching that particular limit by a slight margin, and Various reasons for that have also been discussed in the editorial. The editorial says that the food inflation has become even higher. So food inflation is very high. Various products such as milk, pulses, meat and fish that are high quality and high protein products, their inflation is even more than 16%. Whereas the fuel prices also have seen an upward trend, also because of the increasing taxes on petrol and diesel by the government in order to rake in more revenue. However, despite all this negativity, the editorial points out certain positivities like the positive monsoon or the surplus monsoon. So because of this, about 1/3 of Indian economy that is directly or indirectly dependent on agriculture may see a bumper crop this Kharif season, and it may allay various fears of an economic green shoot or an economic revival, because it is the rural sector that has suffered the most at the hands of COVID-19 and its resultant lockdown. So with a bumper crop expected this year, it can take away some of the steam from the rural sector. But the editorial in the end points out the monetary policy dilemma of the Monetary Policy Committee of the Reserve Bank of India, because if due to rising inflation the RBI is not able to reduce its policy repo rates, then it may not result in revival of the economy. But if it does reduce policy repo rates, it may hasten the inflation a lot more than what it is now. So the editorial points out that it is actually a double-edged sword. So it remains to be seen what decision the Monetary Policy Committee will take in the next biennial review. So taking the news that we have just discussed forward, excess rain has raised the hopes of analysts for a bumper crop this year. So we have witnessed above average southwest monsoons this year, and by 14th of July this year, 11% surplus rainfall has already been recorded, which has also resulted in the reservoir levels across Indian dams to be around 2.7 times that of the usual level. So this is a very significant development, because 2.7 times the reservoir means that all the canal based irrigation and all the ultra mega power projects will run at a very smooth pace, and there will not be any problem vis-a-vis the irrigation as well as the power generation sectors. So this is a very positive development for India. Also, the total sown area among the Kharif crops has gone up significantly. It is at a 6-year high right now. And as you can see, the reservoir levels in various dams across India, so more than half of those are already well above the sufficient levels. So this shows that the power and electricity sector, the agriculture sector and the irrigation sector, these sectors are bound to see a really smooth ascent or a really smooth increase in this particular year, and this is very important because of the already slowing down economy. So this is a positive news for the rural India as well, for the rural sector, for the agriculture sector, and for the Indian economy as a whole. Supreme Court to hear appeals against Maratha quota. So the state of Maharashtra had provided reservation to the Maratha community in education and in jobs in the state of Maharashtra. And this particular decision was challenged in the Bombay High Court, and Bombay High Court also upheld this particular decision. So now this particular decision has been appealed in the Supreme Court of India. The appellants or the petitioners have said that this particular reservation by the Maharashtra government to the tune of 12 to 13% reservation in jobs and educational institutions, it amounts to the breach of 50% cap. So this 50% cap was laid down in the Indira Sahni case of the Supreme Court of India, in which a constitution bench of the Supreme Court laid down that for socially and educationally backward classes, a reservation is a must. However, that reservation cannot and should not exceed 50% of the total number of vacancies. So the caste-based reservation is capped at 50%, and since Maratha community reservation is also based on caste, it cannot lead to the breach of 50% cap as envisaged in the Indira Sahni judgment of the Supreme Court in the 1990s. So on this particular ground, that this reservation violates the rule under the Indira Sani case, this particular appeal has been filed, and it remains to be seen what the Supreme Court actually decides. So day-to-day hearings will begin by 27 July, and the Supreme Court will hear this matter at length. In a study published by journal The Lancet, India's population is expected to peak by the year 2047. So, according to this particular report, at the current rate of growth, India's population is likely to peak by 2047, and it will reach about 1.61 billion. So currently Indian population is around 1.39 billion. It is expected to reach 1.61 billion, and then it will decline to 1.03 billion by the year 2100. So this particular analysis has been made by The Lancet, and the reason for increase is self-evident, but the reason for decrease in population post 2047 there have been multiple reasons that have been cited, and one of the biggest reasons is increased access to contraception to the Indian females. So increased access to contraception has been presumed by the Lancet study, and based on that analysis, the India's population is then expected to decrease and to reach 1.03 billion by the year 2100. So in this particular study, a population where all females have at least 16 years of education and 95% of females have access to contraception. Based on these two presumptions, this particular observation has been made. Number one. Number two, when it compares with United Nations Sustainable Development Goals target, the peak would be earlier and the population decline will be to 929 million. So it is not exactly incongruity with the UN Sustainable Development Goals, but it is somewhat aligned with that. And because of the population control, the total fertility rate will come down. So total fertility rate is an average of how many children a woman must have to keep replenishing population. So if the total fertility rate of a particular population is 2.1, that means it is at a replacement level. So that means that the population of a country has stabilized. However, a lower TFR, say a TFR of 1.9 or 2.0, shows that the overall population of the country will start to decrease, and a TFR of 2.2 shows that the population is still increasing. So India's TFR is likely to go below 2.1 after 2046-47, and that will lead to reduction in the population. Also, the world population is expected to peak by the year 2061. The world population will peak by 2061, and it will be 9.73 billion. And by the year 2100, the 5 most populous countries of the world will include India as the first country. So India will become the most populous country by the end of this century. And the second country will not be China, it will be Nigeria. So very important it is. India is expected to become world's most populous country by then, and Nigeria will be the second, and China will be the third. US will be the fourth country, and Pakistan will be the fifth country. So this particular analysis has been made by the Lancet in its study, and depending upon or taking cues from this particular study, Indian policymakers should adopt its particular programs and guidelines. US President Mr. Donald Trump has ended Hong Kong's preferential trade treatment. So Hong Kong, that is a protectorate or an extension of the mainland China, has been at the hotbed of various type of protests for the past many months. And one of the reasons for that is that China is trying to impose its security law that curbs dissent and that seeks to criminalize the subversion and other offenses in Hong Kong. So that is the main reason why Hong Kongers are protesting. So Hong Kong was not originally a part of China. It was with Britain as a colony. But in 1997, Britain agreed to hand over Hong Kong to China on the condition that autonomy will be maintained of this particular province. So we know that China is not a democracy and there are no freedoms or rights in China. However, the people in Hong Kong enjoy all types of freedoms and all types of liberties. That is why this system is known as one country, two systems. So it is believed that Hong Kong is although a part of mainland China, but this is a system where there is one country, that is China, but two different systems, one in mainland China and another in the Hong Kong. So that system seems to be faltering now, and the US has also imposed sanctions on banks. So US has done all this because China is clamping down on freedoms in Hong Kong, and the US believes that because of lack of freedoms, the competitive edge that the free economy of Hong Kong held till now, or has held till now, will be lost. That is why US is imposing sanctions on Hong Kong. So this has not gone down well with China, and China has promised retaliation. So this is an important news. Certain important words that we need to learn from today's Hindu newspaper. First is abduct. Now abduct means to seize or to take away or to kidnap. So abduction means kidnapping. If someone is abducted, he or she is kidnapped. The line in which it is used is abducted BJP leader rescued in Kashmir. That means a BJP leader that was abducted from somewhere has been rescued in Kashmir. The second word is stab. So stab means to thrust someone with a pointed weapon. A woman killed in Norwegian stabbings. That means in Norway there were different types of stabbings, or there were certain people who stabbed others, maybe a kind of hate crime or maybe a mob crime. So in this particular incident, a woman has been killed in Norwegian stabbings. Third word is disquiet. Disquiet means the opposite of quiet. So quiet means silence or peace, but disquiet means lack of silence or lack of peace. Rising prices despite the depressed demand is a cause for disquiet. That means if the prices are rising but the demand is low, that is a cause for disquiet. So we should not be quiet, we should not be peaceful. That is a cause for worry. So disquiet also means worry. The fourth word is aggression. Aggression means a forceful attack or encroachment. So aggression means when someone tries to forcefully intrude into someone else's space, to attack someone or to encroach someone else's space. That is called aggression. The sentence is China's post-COVID aggression is reshaping Asia. So in the post-COVID world, the China is acting so aggressively with various its neighboring countries that it is reshaping the Asian dynamics. Fifth and last word is messiah. Messiah means a professor or a professed or accepted leader regarded as a savior. So someone who is regarded as a savior is a messiah. So messiah has also given rise to a Hindi word called masiha. So messiah means a professed leader regarded as a savior. One who saves everyone from some particular problems is known as a messiah. The sentence is Delhi police constables turn plasma messiahs. So 2 constables of Delhi police have turned plasma donors because they were infected with COVID-19 and now they have recovered. So on the advice of doctors, they have started donating plasma, and both of them combined have saved the lives of more than 20 people by donating their plasma, which contains antibodies to the COVID-19 virus. So they are acting as messiahs, they are acting as saviors of all those people who are dying because of the coronavirus. So thank you everyone. I hope you liked the video. Thank you for watching.